Hey folks, and welcome back once again to another great episode of Home Build Happiness. My name's Ron, and if you are not familiar with what this is a Honda EU 2200i. It's a gasoline powered generator, rated for I believe 15 amps, but it can handle up to 2200 watts peak. And they're phenomenal generators. They're very, very, very reliable. They do come at a premium price point, and if you have one, you probably know that maintenance is kind of important considering the price. So there's a couple functions with this unit I'm going to go over, and then we're going to do some of those most basic items. If you've been holding off because maybe you haven't ever dug into this thing, maybe you don't know how to, don't worry, we're going to cover that. Now, if you need access to an owner's manual for the EU 2200i, I'm going to go ahead and link that in the description of this video so that you can get a PDF copy of the owner's manual. I'll also link a link to where you can purchase the service manual if you do need to do any repairs to it. And if this video does give you any useful information, or even if it's just entertaining to watch, go ahead and like the video and consider giving Home Build Happiness a subscription. It really helps us out, lets not only us, but YouTube know that we're putting out content that people like to see. We'd really appreciate that. So the first thing we're going to do, this unit is Bluetooth capable, and there's a couple useful things with service scheduling and reminders that we're going to go over. So in order for me to demonstrate that, I'm going to run this unit. I'm going to put a small load. I have an air compressor here. I'm just going to have that going. I'll step over in the shade away from the noise, and we'll go over some of that functionality. All right, so we're here with the app open. And this is what it's going to look like. It's going to give you the amount of energy that's being consumed. It's also going to let you know what your oil life is, engine hours, whether your eco throttle is on or off, and the option to power the unit off. It cannot be started from this app, but it can be shut off by the app. You've got a tab here for support, and it will give you a maintenance video, dealer locator. You can access the owner's manual from this app. And again, if you don't have that app, you can go to the description for this video. Also an FAQ. So right here is really what we're concerning ourselves with. We've got our oil change interval. Now this will remind you as you exceed these hours. So it's gonna let you know, it's gonna give you a notification, the option to refresh. And this is gonna be all of your dealer maintenance items as well that they want you to take it in for. Now what we're going to be focusing on today is changing the oil, checking and cleaning the air cleaner, spark plug, spark arrestor, and then we'll just go through and kind of blow it out and just clean everything up. And then once you're finished using your generator, you just hold that button down and it'll turn the unit off. We'll confirm that. All right, folks, let's get to work on this. All right, so we're gonna work on the oil change here. All you're gonna need is gonna be a Phillips head screwdriver. That side cover comes right off. You'll see you got your air cleaner right here. It brings air in from down here. Your carburetor's right here. This is going to be your oil. This is actually how you drain it and fill it. Really simple. These folks with Honda really made it easy. So, first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to position our generator over here. When you fill this up, there is really no dipstick. You just fill it to where it's full when it's on level ground. So because it's leaned a little bit, we might lose a little bit of oil. That's all right. There we go. We have an oil catch pan down below there. and we're just going to dump it out. That's really all there is to it. Okay, just going to bring it right back up onto level ground, and then you're basically just going to fill it up until you start to see it right there at the threads. You do have a dipstick on here, but it doesn't really show you any lines of what's full, not full, empty. It's just there as a guide just to show you what's in there. Oil that we're going to use, the spec for this unit is 10W30. I use a Mobil 1 full synthetic, high mileage. Just because it does tend to have, you know, some additives and things that when an engine's under heavy service, that it would probably benefit from. I don't want to spill any of it, so I'm just going to tilt it on its side here. Okay. We're going to see it's not filled up yet. You don't have to turn it on its side. I just don't like to use that little filler that it has, that little rubber piece. So right there I can see it's starting to get up near the threads. So just a little bit more oil. And right there, as you can see, it's up to the threads. That's a full machine. That took about a half a quart. So a quart of oil should be able to get you 2 changes. And what I'm gonna do with this, before I put the cap back on, I just want to tilt it up and clean some of this oil. Where we live out here in the desert, anything that has oil on it pretty much turns into a big ball of dirt, so I try to keep things as clean as possible. Okay, and there you go. It's always a good idea, since you're in here, to take a look at the air cleaner. That's just another Phillips head screw. You know, Honda makes it real easy. Now this generator has a little over 300 hours on it. I have never once cleaned this out. I've checked it numerous times. It's never dirty. There's a little bit of dirt around the case right there. Again, these things are built really well. There's certain things that you buy that you look at and you can tell where they cheaped out. And this unit's just very well constructed. You have 2 filters. You soak both of them in oil. One's kind of a rougher, coarse filter, kind of a pre-filter. And then you've got your air filter up here. Again, not cheaping out. Take that out and look at it. Got a little tiny bit of dirt right there. And then your air filter itself. Take it off, look at it again. 300 hours, folks, and this thing, it's really got nothing at all on it. So we're just going to take and put that right back in there. Your hands should be a little oily after handling that because it is an oil filter. It's a wet filter. Same thing with that guy there. Matter of fact, I've got a little bit of oil left over. All right, we've cleaned our filter up, our pre-filter. Put the lid back on, and even though there's really nothing around it, I'm just gonna give that gasket just a little quick blow. Next thing we want to check is the spark plug. We're going to go ahead and put this side back on. Next thing we want to do is take a look at our spark plugs, or spark plug rather. Right here on the other side of the machine, we're going to have a small cover. We're going to take that off. Once you get down in here, you'll see the spark plug cover. We're just going to reach in, pull that off, and that's going to expose the spark plug. And to remove the spark plug, we're going to need a 5/8 inch spark plug socket. Sink that down in there. Because of how deep it is, I'm just going to use a 6-inch extension. You shouldn't go on too tight. Getting just a little bit of wind out here today, aren't we? That factory plug is going to be an NGK CR5 HSB. And that is a factory plug. I believe this gets changed out at about 400 hours. We're not quite there yet. But it looks like it's burning clean. I'm actually going to take and spray a little bit of solvent on it. Just clean it up with a brush. And there's our plug after we've cleaned it up. And it's not perfect, but it definitely looks good for another 100 hours. And I would say it could probably run, I mean, just well past that, but these things aren't too expensive, so about 100 hours of use later, we'll knock it out and change it. And I'm not going to use anything on them, like any kind of anti-seize or anything. I pull this stuff out enough that it really doesn't have time to lock up or give us any kind of problems. And again, don't go crazy with it. Just, you know, tight enough. That's all you want. I'll spray down in there just because I can. Quick run, and then we'll move on to the spark arrestor. Alright, so we're going to check the spark arrestor. This is also a maintenance item for us. We got 4 screws, Phillips head, and then we got a couple bolts underneath there. And if you notice, we have a bung right here that's been welded on the exhaust. That's not from the factory. We had that done because we have a an extended exhaust line that we can run onto this. And I've used it a couple times. And got some muck down in there. 10mm for these bolts. I do believe these may be different sizes also, so just be cognizant of that. We'll find out. We'll see if my memory serves me well. Okay. And they are. They are. So, your 2 top bolts will be one size, that bottom bolt's going to be longer. I just want to take a look in here. That's not what we're inspecting, but I just like to make sure that everything's all right. What we're actually looking for is going to be this screen that's right inside of here. Right there. And we're just going to take a little bit of solvent and we'll blow that out. We'll also blow this out as well as inside of there, and then any dirt that's right here. We'll take care of that, put it right back together. All right, so we've got our flange right here, our exhaust manifold flange cleaned up. We also got our spark arrestor cleaned up as well. And if you're wondering what I'm doing to clean that, what kind of solvent I'm using, it's just diesel fuel in a spray bottle, and I'm using this bristle brush. It's not even metal bristle, it's just a regular old nylon brush and a little bit of diesel fuel on all these components. And now I'm just going to blow it out with a little bit of air. We'll put her back together. All right, then you just want to grab your exhaust, take that spark arrestor, just place it right back in there. And what I would recommend doing this, I've done it in the past. I would just put a little bit of anti-seize on these, especially if you're not going to be in here all the time doing maintenance to this. Just like with cars, it's usually the water pumps and the exhaust components that give you the most trouble when it comes to freezing up and seizing, things like that. Make sure you got them all in. Give them a nice little snug down first. 1, 2, 3. There you go. And look at that, I see me a little bit of oil. So one thing I don't like about changing oil on this thing is if a little bit of it runs out, you'll find it later on. It'll gather in places like that. Okay. We'll put it on. Just make sure that rubber gasket seats up right there on the body of the generator. And again, we'll just snug these down. Okay. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's all you need to do, folks. That's pretty much all of your maintenance. Make sure you check inside your gas tank. You want to make sure you don't have any debris in there. There is a screen in there that can come out. But other than that, for what our maintenance calls for, we're pretty much good to go. And I'm gonna bet you that with all Hondas, this is no different. Even after doing maintenance, it's gonna start on the first try. I would bet you money. Let's give it a shot. What do you know? All right, so there we go. We've done those maintenance items. The generator is back in great condition. It's ready to go another 100, maybe even 200 hours. And as you see with the condition of these items, Honda's really generous with these service intervals. So you may get in there and find out that everything's clean. You don't have anything to worry about, but it's always better to be on the safe side. Folks, hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you next time, all right? Thanks for watching.